Okay, hey everybody, welcome to this evening's stream. This evening we're going to be doing another game creation stream, so we're going to be back starting from a starter game and coming up with a different sort of game around that. Tonight we're going to take a look at a tycoon game, so we've been sort of putting our heads together of different ways that we can have games that are sort of single player friendly and maybe have some sort of mechanic that is almost like a comeback later mechanic. So we've seen a lot of people enjoying Tumbleweed Ridge, which does the same sort of thing where you plant a crop and it's a few real hours before you can kind of come and harvest it. So we thought it might be interesting to show you how you can actually make some of those sorts of things yourself. So the package that I've made that we'll be showing off here is almost like a complete version. So there's not a huge amount of stuff to do to get this game working, but what we can then do is take any suggestions from chat and sort of start to make it a bit more unique to this game we're going to make. But hopefully by the end of it, we'll have something that you can run away with. The package won't be public just yet. I want to sort of make a few minor tweaks here and there, but as I say, it'll be interesting to see what we can kind of come up with. And always let us know what sort of things you'd like to see from your own sort of tycoon gaming and experience. So tonight we're joined by Sean and Maggie. So do you want to say hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Cool. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get straight into it. So I'm going to jump into Create. And you'll see some of my test games from here, but we're just going to jump to Adventure. So it's going to be based on the Adventure map or the Adventure starter game, which comes with the shop and the resources, which is kind of the backbone of any tycoon game. And then, as I say, the templates that I've got will sort of sit on the back of that. So we're going to call this Canyon Miners. Okay, so we're going to set this in a sort of Western Frontiers style game. If I just find a suitable picture, I'll go with this guy. Okay, so if anyone's here for the first time, if this is sort of your sort of first viewing of Crayta, Crayta is a collaborative and accessible game development platform, which is available right now on Stadia. It's free on Pro, so if you sign up for a Pro subscription, you'll get you'll get Crayta included with that, or it's also available through Stadia's sort of storefront. In a couple of different packages. So here we are. We've got our basic sort of adventure starter. So I think you guys have a bit of a task list that I've set you as people like to call you, my minions. So if you wanted to, if you wanted to maybe just start working through that, so building up the environment, and I'll sort of get the game being built up in between what you've got to do. So I'm going to jump to the advanced mode for this. As I say, a lot of what you can do here, sort of installing the packages and adding packages to things, can be done from basic mode. It can be done from the controller. You just find that I can do things a little bit quicker here in advanced mode. But as I say, there's no reason why you couldn't do a lot of this stuff in basic mode. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove these two apple trees because they don't really fit with what we're going to do. And I'm just going to slide this shop in to be a bit more central. Okay, so if anyone has played Tumbleweed Ridge, you'll know that the way that works is there's a sort of a central map, and then each player that spawns in gets assigned their own area. Okay, so each area will be theirs. No one else can interact with that. So what we need to do is we need to define sort of four places that can be used as kind of what our players will get when they log in. First, I'm just going to go to the community tab. And as I say, you can do this from basic mode, so you can also do this from the controller. I'm just going to look for Tycoon game. Okay, so this should be just private to me at the moment, so you wouldn't actually be able to find this in the community tab at the moment, but I will make it public, and I will sort of add a package guide to the forum as well to explain how to use it. But hopefully this stream will kind of act as another resource in learning how to use it. Okay, so I'm just going to install that, and that's going to come with all sorts of different things that are going to give us the game that we're looking at. As I mentioned at the start, if chat want to sort of shout out suggestions for anything they'd like to see from a tycoon game, you might have more suggestions as we get into the build a little bit more. But yeah, do let us know what you think. And I will now define some areas. So I'm going to use my voxel tools. Okay, and quite handily, so I know my area is going to be 60 by 60. Okay, so that's the size that each player is going to get for their areas. And if I just drag that down, I want to make basically a hole in the map for each player. Let's look at spacing. So if I just move this up, it's going to be a little bit rough. It'll all be okay. Okay, so now I've got this brush defined. I should be able to just now drag that across and hit enter again. And then do the same again, sort of on this side. Did one of you make the map a bit bigger? Or
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay, that's fine. It's not a problem. It's throwing me off because it seems much bigger than my test earlier. I was getting confused or.
I made it a bit bigger for some fun sections.
Yeah, that's fine. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so let's just slide the shop back. Okay, so the idea is when players log in, they'll be assigned one of these sort of 4 areas, and then this shop will act as their sort of central point on the map. Okay, so what I want to do next, I'm just going to make this a little bit deeper. So again, just use my extrude tool, one of the sort of fun, powerful tools that we provide here on Crayta. Literally drag down, and you'll see that there's now a much longer bottom area of the map. Okay, we'll just do the same here, just make it all even. Okay. Right, so now I've got that. Let's start having a look at setting up the different areas. Okay, but first I'll just kind of explain how the areas are going to work. So with the adventure temp or with the adventure starter game, we get this adventure entity, which comes with the adventure script. Now we're actually not going to use that adventure script, but we are going to use our own, which is the one I wrote earlier, but it's based off the same script. So if I look here and look for Tycoon script and drag that across. Okay, you'll see it's got a couple of properties that we need to sort of fill out as we go along now. If I just have a quick look at this, so the way this works is it's, as I say, it's this based off the adventure script that comes with that starter game, but it basically handles when a player logs in and when a player logs out. And that's quite important for this sort of style of tycoon game because we want to capture the times in which players exit and enter the game, so we can then calculate if they've got something that's happening that's going to take 2 hours. We need to know what time they left, so when they log in again we can say, okay, well now there's only 30 minutes left. So there's a lot of things there that can start to play, be quite useful. So they're 2 functions to look out for if you're ever doing this sort of logic. These are built-in ones that come with the API, so they're automatically triggered when a player logs in or out. Okay, so what I can see here is I've got a couple of parameters to fill in. Our Tycoon areas is what I need to set up now. So I need to tell the Tycoon script, okay, where are my 4 areas? So to do that, let's get the locators. Okay, so if I get a locator, and I'm just going to drag that to the adventure. In fact, we'll just rename this Tycoon to avoid any confusion. Okay, so all this is in the world tree is just this this locator down here, which just acts as like as an anchor to the scripts. It doesn't actually represent anything that's going to sit in the game physically. Okay, so now I've got this first locator. Let's reposition that up into this space. Okay, that should be roughly center, but what we want to do is make sure that's exactly center. And the best way to do that is to first let's just rename it to Tycoon area. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to create a child voxel mesh of this, of mine area. Okay, and the mine area voxel mesh is the once that spawns in, it might take a second. Is the area that the players will be using. So you see it's already populated with a lot of things, and I'll talk through what these things are a little bit later. But that's just quite a handy way. I can now see that obviously that doesn't quite line up. So if I just shift my locator, and because this mine area is a child, it's going to move with it. Just allows me to position that exactly where I need to. There, I can see that sort of sits flush to the border, and that's going to sit perfectly in position. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll just copy and paste that whole locator and slide it into here. Okay, and I can see that obviously these two squares I made at the start obviously don't quite line up, but that's fine. Pop that one there. And another one here. And there. Okay, so that's given me my 4 locators that are going to sit to tell the script basically where the areas are. Now, because what's going to happen is when a player joins the game, it's going to create one of these areas for them with all the relevant things for them already loaded in. So, for example, if I've unlocked 2 or 3 of the mine bits, then it needs to load in with that. So we can't actually keep this default one there. So let's just remove those for now. Okay. So what we've got now is we've got 4 locators that are sat perfectly in the right positions. All we need to do is just drag these down into our area array. Okay, and then the next 2 things to set up are the area template itself. So we know that that's going to be our mine area. Okay, and it's worth mentioning, so if you were making your own Tycoon game using this package or sort of following this sort of logic, that mine area is kind of specific to the one that I wanted to create, and it kind of acts as an example in this case. Now that could really be where you start to create your own sort of concept of what an area is. It doesn't have to be defined to a voxel mesh. It could be, all sorts of different things. Okay, and then I just need to set my player template here, because what we do in this script is a little bit of custom logic for spawning. So it's going to show you which is your area and do a little camera sort of cut around. So that's why we just need to provide that player template there. So once that's done, okay, that shouldn't take any work. And you'll notice I haven't had to do any coding so far. I've just kind of using the components of this package. You'll also notice that the map's starting to change slightly. So again, Crayta is a sort of collaborative game development engine, and everything's happening in real time. So I can see someone's drone here buzzing around, being busy.
Yep.
I'm going to assume that's Sean building up the wall. That's Sean's.
Oh, that's my forte.
Sean's favorite thing. Cool. Right. So what do I need to do next? I need to set up the logic on the user. Okay. So before we can preview, we just need to add a couple of bits to the user. So as I say, the user gets assigned one of those areas. So what we need to do here is attach the scripts to the user that's going to help facilitate that sort of assigning of the area that's going to be theirs. Okay, and for that, it's just a simple case of dragging the script folder to the user, and we've got this Tycoon data script. Okay, and again, you don't need to really look into that too much. You don't need to explore that. Obviously, if you're interested in coding, it's a really great way to learn. So I'd encourage opening the script up and starting to have a look through about the little things that we're doing here. But otherwise, if you're just using this package to build with, then obviously just chuck it in there and you can kind of forget that that's there for now. Okay, so now we've got that, and that we should, if I'm feeling brave, we should be able to preview. So if you are happy for me to hit press F5 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so press F5, and what we'll see here is we get a mine has appeared here for me. I get a little cut down of logic, and then I think we've all, so because there's 3 of us here.
This little rocky mine's new.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that was a little thing I added earlier. So this area's remained empty because obviously there's only 3 of us playing and there's 4 spaces, but that's fine. I can see different mines here. Okay, looking good. Cool. So now we've got that going. There's a little bit of logic there to work with. What I could do is, I know I've got 100 coins. I can see down in the sort of other side of my inventory, I've got 100 coins to spend, and I can see here that this is telling me that this is a copper collector and it costs 100. Okay, so if I step on this, that's going to purchase that. That's going to send that down. And now that's going to tell me that I need to wait 50 seconds before that's going to come up and actually be of use to me. Okay, so because this is using the persistent side of the engine, I can now press F5 to return to the editor. Okay, and then we can sort of do a bit more work. Or in the real case, I could go and play a different game for a little bit if that was going to be a bit longer than 50 seconds. Okay, and I can return to the game. I can return to preview, and it should have saved. If not, then it's because I've missed something. Oh, I know what I've missed. I've missed some of the autosave stuff. But what would have happened at that point is it would have said, okay, now there's only 20 seconds left. It would have worked out the difference, and we'll showcase that once I've sort of set up the save stuff a bit more. Okay, so to get that to save, we need to use this auto save. So this comes with the adventure starter game, and that's how the inventory is saved. So you may have noticed each time you've gone into Tumbleweed Ridge, you've got the same inventory, the same crops, the same pickaxe, and all that sort of stuff. So what we can do here is add a new script, which is called, if I just find it in here, and it's kind of very similar to the way the inventory works. It's Tycoon save script. Okay, and again, you don't need to worry about that script. You can just kind of add that. And then what we need to do now is hook it into these events. So the game will kind of run an auto save, and every 10 seconds, it's going to actually save. I'm just going to increase that to sort of every 5 seconds, so it saves a bit more often. Okay, and what we need to do now is tell the game that I need to load and save and unload. So if I drag autosave down to here, okay, and now pick my Tycoon save script and say onload. So I'm matching the onload event to the onload function. And then I'm going to do the same again here. So let's say autosave Tycoon script save. And then finally, there isn't already an event for unload because the inventory doesn't need to do anything for that. But this is where we're actually going to get the game to save the time the users quit. And obviously, as I say, that's quite important in working out how much time's left when they do log back in on certain components. So let's select on unload. And again, you don't need to look into that too much. You can just sort of set those events up, and all of that's available to users on a controller in basic mode. But what that allows us to do is that should then run all of the logic for saving and loading our mines. Okay, what do I want to do next? Let's have a look at the shop. So we've got this logic in place. It's going to allow us to collect resources. Obviously, at some point, we're going to need to go and save that sort of thing. So what we're going to do is use our shop here. At the minute, that sort of sits as our vending machine shop. Okay, and this is the one that comes with the adventure starter game. So again, you don't have to sort of bring this in. This should come with the game already. Okay, I'm going to rename this to the Canyon Shop. Okay, I can see bundles of money appearing in front of me. I think there's a mesh which is like a pile of coins as well. That might be quite a cool one.
Oh, yeah.
Bit more Western. Okay, so we'll see that we've got these buy item scripts. So this is going to determine all the things that the shop has to sell. You could have that sort of logic in. Obviously, a Tycoon game, you could have things being bought like buffs that's going to speed up the production of elements of your Tycoon. You could have like speed ups, of make things cheaper perhaps with some sort of bonus. We're not going to include any of that just now, so all we're going to use the shop for really is selling items. I'm just going to remove all three of those scripts. So all the shop's left with is this shop script. But if you make sure allow sell is ticked, what that would do is when a player interacts with the shop, it's going to give them the option. It's going to go through their inventory and work out everything they've got that's allowed to be sold. And what's determined as an item that can be sold is it will look for a script called the inventory sellable script. So if it has that script, it will say, okay, this can be sold, and it will compile a page of the shop for the player to be able to sell their items, which is how it's going to work for us. Okay, so that should be all we need to do there, so we can leave the shop alone. Trying to look pretty cool. Okay, so what do we want to do next? Let's have a look at the mine itself. So I'll talk you through how all this is set up. Okay, so Andy's saying, I noticed when using the adventure template that testing was difficult as it remembered, and I couldn't figure out how to reset it at points. Okay, actually, because while I've touched upon the save, I'll mention how to do that. So if you ever want to reset your inventory, you'll find the inventory save script, and I've done the same for the Tycoon save script. Okay, if you go into there, make that a bit bigger, you'll notice at the very top you've got this thing called the save version. Okay, and what happens is when the game loads your data, it will check the version that was saved. If I just have a look, here it is. So we've got this if statement here that says if the save data version, so the version that came with the player's save, is equal to the script's save version, then we're safe to load it. Otherwise, if they don't match, what it will do is it will just not load the data. And then next time it saves, it will save it with the correct save version. So essentially it will not load the player's inventory. And then from going forwards, it will just save over that. So it's quite destructive. You know, if you do reset, there isn't any going back. But all you need to do to reset is to just change that save version to a different number. And then going forwards, it should all reset for you nicely. Okay, so this is on mine. So as I say, this is specific to my kind of idea of what the Tycoon will be, and it's a mining game, but it could be anything from collecting gems in some sort of riverbed, or I don't know, it could be like any sort of tycoon of any sort of collecting of anything that can be sold in the shop. So this is just my take on it. So this isn't something that, this isn't the only thing that you can do with this stuff. I've tried to keep it as kind of generic as possible. So the sort of, I guess the glossary is each of these things here are called a collector. So a collector will go off, it will collect items, and it will take a certain amount of time to do that. So in this case, if this collector, as we saw, is a copper collector, once I've bought it, that will automatically start mining for me. It will go down and it will wait a certain amount of time. And that amount of time is defined by, if I have a look at the collector, this is a collector. Okay, so when that goes down, what it will do is using these properties here. So again, this is all definable without having to touch the code. You can define the capacity, so how much of the resource it will bring back, how long it takes. So for this copper one, the default is 60 seconds. How long it takes to move, which is just like an aesthetic thing. Okay, and then the resource itself. So the resource is also something you'd have to set up and think about, again, depending entirely on the gameplay of what you're trying to create. But for me, this resource of copper, and I'll show you some more different resources in a moment. The resource entity, so copper bars, is basically what sits on top. So if you wanted to change kind of visually what appears on top of the collector, it would just be a case of adding a different entity into that. Okay, I guess I sort of lied slightly before when I said that they were all collectors. Sorry, these aren't actually collectors. These are sort of little shops, almost, the way to think of them. So when a player steps inside the trigger, it's going to do a quick check to see if they have enough money. So have a look at this purchase trigger here. Okay, and there's a few more components here again, so no scripting required. You can just play with the parameters. So the cost is how much it's going to cost a player. The mine area is just linked so it knows which area it belongs to. Okay, so the important things really here to sort of set for your own gameplay are the cost, the component to purchase. So in this case, you can see it's a collector. So what is it they're actually going to buy when they step into this? There's a few different messages set up, and if you don't touch those, they should all sort of fit nicely. And then you've got this on purchased. So if you on purchase complete, you get to say, okay, this is what's going to happen. It's going to go to the mine area and add this component. So that should be set up ready, not needed to be touched. On mark as purchase is kind of, again, it's more of an aesthetic thing. So in this case, I've set up an event for this trapdoor to open. And that will really, again, entirely depend on how you want to set up these things in your own game. There'll be some things you'll notice. So this little mine shaft is a collector in the same way, but instead of going up and down as a pallet, it will be a mine cart that goes in and out. So you can just sort of start to play with things and drag things around. Okay, so now I've got that. Let's have a look at the best way to explain it. Probably will be to set up a new type. So you see, I've got these 4 blank slots at the back. So these first 2 are for copper. These next 2 are for silver. I'll set up a gold one here that's going to give us some gold resources. But if chat has any suggestions for this, then do let us know. So what kind of things might be quite interesting to mine. It doesn't have to be like a sort of mineral. We could be fishing for schools, or it could be anything. So yeah, if chat's got any ideas, or if maybe Maggie and Sean, if you have any ideas of what you might want to see the mine fetch, then let us know. Maybe make it more valuable than gold, because that's kind of like the hierarchy, I guess. That'll be the most expensive things to buy.
Can you mine hope?
Mine hope.
Dreams.
If you can find me a mesh or an effect that represents hope, then I can try.
Salmon.
Okay, cool. Oh wow, that's it. I always love it when that happens in streams, when I'm sort of sat in the template view and I come back to the game and it just looks completely different. This floor looks really nice. It's looking really good. Right, so what do I want to do? I want to set up a gold version of the collector, so that will talk you through how the collector works. Let's have a look at the templates, and if I just search for a collector. Okay, we see we've got a couple of different versions. I'm just going to drag the silver collector in. Okay, so that comes with a timer, with this sort of mesh itself, and then this trigger box, which acts as like a collection zone. So when the player steps in it, they'll collect the resource. Okay, so first thing I want to do is going to break the link to this template. What that's going to do is that's going to stop this from actually acting as if it's a silver instance, and it's just going to be an entity. What that means now is I can customize it to be whatever I'd like, and I can re-template it up as my own thing. So let's do that first. Let's go gold collector. Okay, and then looking down the collector script here, there's going to be a few things we want to change for this. So firstly, we probably want a slightly less capacity. Collection time of 10 minutes there. Let's make that a bit longer. Let's go for like 800. Okay, move time 3 seconds still. So resource of silver, we're going to need to set up our own resource here specifically for gold. Time remaining, the bars on top, so we want to set the bars on top to be gold instead. And then the description here, instead of saying collects gold, let's say collects gold instead of collects silver. Okay, so we need to set up a resource, and we also need to set up the entity on the top to be bars of gold instead of bars of silver. So to do that, for this first one, the easiest thing to do here is actually select this voxel mesh. So if you are going to use a different voxel mesh, if I was to just change this directly, we're going to have the problem where that's actually going to change what the silver bars look like for every instance of silver bars, because it's linked to this silver bars voxel mesh. So using this button next to it, this create a unique copy of this asset. What we can do is kind of make this a unique version and call it gold bars. Okay, so it's still silver, but now when I change this, it's not going to change how the silver bars look for everything else. So let's have a look at voxels and gold, and we've got these sort of couple of different versions of gold. I'm going to go for the worn out, sort of more tired looking version of the gold. Okay, and then all I need to do is just fill those in. Straight away we see we've got these nice sort of effects of gold. We have got a mesh for gold. We've got the gold bar mesh, which look quite nice. But just for ease and speed here, because this is already set up as a voxel mesh, I'm just going to leave that as that. Okay, we'll call this gold bars up here. Okay, so now we've got that in place. The next thing to do is set up our resource. Okay, so a little bit different this time. So before, as we grabbed the silver collector, broke the link, and then created a new version, what we can do here, the way I've set up the resources to work, is there's this resource template, which kind of acts like a master version. So if we look here now, we've got this instance of template resource, which if you scroll down, it's kind of got default values. Nothing's really populated. But what we'll do is we won't actually break the link this time. We'll just call this resource gold, and then populate the values we want. So this is going to sell for quite a lot probably. So I think the silver sells for 50, so we'll sell this for 100. Its friendly name is gold bars. Okay, we don't want to assign a grip because this isn't a thing that players will hold. It's just kind of a data entity. It's a locator used to sort of hold these scripts together that the player will have in their inventory, but they won't actually hold anything. But what we want to do is just assign our gold born icon asset. Okay, so what that means is it will kind of put the gold bar in the inventory and it'll just look quite nice. If anyone hasn't seen that before, so the best way to, or the only way to update the icon asset is to drag the thumbnail from the library. So if it's for a voxel or a mesh, you can drag that down and sort of stick that in there. And then that's how we can kind of pull it out into inventories or however it is you want to sort of use that stuff in code. So having a quick look at some of the suggestions and chat stuff to build later. So a rock made of glass with an animated pickaxe that's mining it. Yeah, that's to try and
very nervous sound.
Just try and visualize that first. So I could probably do diamonds. I could get that far. Not entirely sure about the animated pickaxe that's mining it. That sounds like Adam work to me. If Adam was here, he'd be right on that sort of thing. Right, so resource gold. Okay, so instead of doing any breakages this time, I'm just going to go back and create a new template from this. Even though this is still connected to the resource template, this is a nice way of kind of adding a sort of dependency chain in a way. So you've got the resource gold, which I can update, but now any changes to that resource template, that sort of first one, will sort of iterate through to resource gold in some manner, which is a nice way. If I add something to resource gold, it should also add it to my if I add something to resource, which is like that master template, it'll iterate through the sort of sub templates of it. A little bit advanced. It's sort of something that doesn't necessarily have to be used, but it's just a nice way if you're starting to get used to sort of game development. These little tricks like this are kind of quite good to know about. So resource gold. Okay, so now that's a template. I can delete that and go back to my gold collector and update my property. Okay, so let's just double check we've got everything here. So it's called gold collector. It's got a capacity of 10, slightly longer than the silver. Gold, it's got gold bars on top. Okay, so now I need to make this into a template. Okay, and it might complain a little bit. I think when it creates that, it's just going to lose its link there, but that should be fine. Let's just check the template. The template itself is fine. So don't have to worry, we can delete that now anyway, because that's now ready as a instance. So the next thing to do is go back to our mine area. Okay, and let's have a look at setting up our little shop here. So the easiest way to do that would be to just copy this one. Okay, so we know this collector position is set up. If I just copy and paste that across, set that up. So this is going to act as a little place that we can buy that collector from. Okay, so look at our purchase trigger. We can see that I'm going to purchase, instead of a collector, this time I'm going to purchase the gold collector. The cost for this, let's make it a bit more pricey. Let's go for 2,000. Okay, that should then all be ready because we already know this is acting. This purchase trigger is already set up to act in the way I want with a trapdoor and all that sort of stuff. Okay, but the next thing to be aware of is this component index. Okay, so this is the way that it hooks in to the area itself. So when it saves and loads, it will record which index this this component was saved at, where it was created from. And that's how when it saves and loads, it can kind of put things back in the right place, depending on what the player's got. Okay, so where we get this index from is if we go to our mine area, Okay, we've got these collector positions and decoration positions. The decoration are things up at the top here. They're quite simple. They don't have so much logic around them. It's just a trigger box that when you step in it, it's going to create a thing. In this case, it's a couple of windmills and a wagon. Okay, so here, what we need to do is that new collector position that we created. We just drag that down into our collector positions. Okay, and that's now the 6th entity in this array. Okay, so this 6 is what's important here. So if I go to this, purchase trigger, and set up my component index as number 6. Okay, that way it can bind between the two and it knows kind of where it's going to do that sort of logic of loading and saving. Now we've got this, let's just copy and paste the second one across. Okay, and we'll make this one just a touch more expensive. Obviously players would come and buy the cheaper one first, but if they did want a second gold, they'd have to pay a little bit more this time. So let's go for 2,500, and let's assume this is going to be component 7, but remember we need to go back to that mine area and now drag this one down into our array. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense. As I say, it's a little bit work in progress. We're sort of trying to iterate on how this comes together, but it'll be interesting to see once we put this public, if people start using this, where they really start to get stuck in all this sort of logic. But yeah, it's, hopefully, it's fairly out the box. It seems to work in the sort of small amount of testing I've done. So hopefully it's all going to hold up for now. Last thing I'm going to do, wow, this map gets better every time I come back. Oh, if I was feeling really brave, I wonder if I could get the walls and the sign at the front to be something that you pay for.
Ooh,
interesting.
Ooh.
I'll think about it. Right, see how much time we've got left. Right, so if I go, what was it up to? Right, notifications. So this package relies on the notifications package, which doesn't come with the adventure starter. So we'll need to add that. And again, it's dead simple and it can be done on the controller. All you need to do is go to your user after installing the package. Go to the templates and look for notifications, and you'll see you've got another script folder here, which just needs to drag it onto the user, and then that's all you need to do. So there'll be a couple of things, a couple of sort of areas to the widget. So there's notifications on the side and this shout, and you'll notice that this is the default one that comes with a lot of starter games. But that's ready to be customized to however you'd like it to look. So using the HTML, CSS, all that sort of fun stuff. So if you're into your sort of CSS styling and HTML programming, that's a really nice way to sort of start to create different UIs and make the game feel pretty nice and different. I think Sean might be doing a little bit of that at some point.
Yep.
So we might see some interesting widgets pop up that I've not seen before, so that'd be fun. Okay, cool. Where are we up to now? So I think we're probably ready to have another preview, if you're happy.
Yeah.
Yep, sure thing.
Yep, let's go with yes. Sorry, I didn't want you to be mid-widget and mess you up. Okay. So one thing that's worth noting, actually, I don't know if people have noticed before, but the default adventure starter game actually uses the UTC time for its day-night cycle. So it's 20 to 8 here in the UK, and it's starting to get a little bit darker here on the map, and it'll actually respond to sort of the time of day. So if we were to play this all night, it would just be dark, and then as real morning comes around, the game will start to get lighter. So it's an interesting mechanic. You can turn it off. It's quite straightforward, and I might do that just so we can see the level a bit clearer. Oh, I don't have enough coins. Oh, I know why I don't have enough coins. So what we'll have to do is go back. It's because I bought them before, but I didn't have the save logic in, so it stole my money, but it didn't give me my mine. So if I just go to the inventory save, and we just change that to a 2. Okay, and I think I noticed John put a comment in. So John, the creator of Tumbleweed Ridge, put a comment into the chat a little while ago, just saying that in Tumbleweed Ridge it was changed to a property rather than a constant here. So actually, yeah, what you can do is have this as a property at the top, which allows you to change it at the side, just for easier sort of testing. So if you did want to implement your own, that's where you could do it. If not, if you're just using that sort of built-in one, then that's where you would change it. Okay, let's go with that. That should all now. It should reset. So this time you can see down in the corner I've got 100 coins. Okay, so I'm going to step on this, and that's going to give me. That's going to go down. Okay, so 55 seconds time, I should have some copper to go and collect. In the meantime, let's have a look at the Canyon shop. There's nothing here to sell because I've got nothing in my inventory that's worth selling. And I can see here that the other mines have come up. Okay, and if I was to step on this, it's going to tell me actually this is owned by Maggie. So each area does get properly owned by a player, and it will stop you from messing with each other and starting to sort of collect and steal each other's stuff. And then this one's just going to remain abandoned mine shaft that if you fall down, it just reset you. So there's no death mechanic here. There's no sort of respawn. It literally just resets you back up at the top. Okay, you notice as well we're using the orbit cam. So I think that the adventure starter game comes with the sort of orbit cam by default. It's a slightly sort of different control mechanic, but still feels quite nice. Okay, so here's my copper ready with this sort of shiny effect on top. If I step in here, that's going to automatically go back down the mine shaft with Sean and and start another loop of 50 seconds. And that's now going to give me enough copper to come back to the shop. Okay, and I've now got this copper to sell. So if I sell this, I've now got 100 coins. With that 100 coins, I can return to here. Whoops. I can return to here and buy the next one. Okay, and that's going to start counting down. Okay, and we can see that my gold collectors are over here. So collects gold, collects gold. Okay, so let's return to the editor for a second. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove that UTC time. So to do that, you want to go to your adventure. Not adventure. You go in the world tree wherever it has gone. There's an entity that comes with the game that I can't remember what it's called. Time of day. Okay, so here you can see it's got a script called time of day script. I'm just going to remove this use UTC time, and instead you can define your own. So if I set this, yeah, that should be fine. And then if I go to the world, okay, we don't have a day-night cycle 14. That should be fine. Okay, so I'm going to hit play. So you'll notice now, because we went away for that certain amount of time, that both of my collectors actually came back. So the time had exceeded when they should have returned, and they were there ready to be collected. So it's quite a nice way, as I say, it's a nice sort of game mechanic where you can come in, you can sort of set things off, do a few things, and then jump off and play a different game for a little bit. Find a different game on the featured rail or something else that's active with other players, and then come back and just sort of check in on your mine. What we'll do now, I think, just to help speed things up, is if I go to the user defaults and set our start currency to, let's say, 5,000. Okay, and I'm just going to reset this back to 1. Okay, so if we hit preview now, we should start with a lot more money. Okay, you'll notice that the mines didn't reset, and that's because they use that separate Tycoon save script. So if you wanted to reset the sort of the mines for the players, then you'd need to change the save version in that side. But now we should be able to run around and just purchase a few more things. Oh, I run out of money. Okay, but you'll see here, so obviously that time's come into play. So these things are actually going to take a real life 10 minutes, whereas this one was sort of 13.5 minutes. Okay, and then we've got other different collectors and stuff we can make. Apparently I don't have enough coins for that one. I can buy these. So these are sort of windmills, so just for decoration, and they'll animate by default. So it starts to build up, and I can see that other people's doing the same. Let's have a look at this one. So this is the minecart collector. Oh, I've just run out of money for that, but let's go to the shop. Okay, the shop's a little bit tricky with this camera, so you could probably change the shop to act as like a trigger based thing rather than a sort of interaction. Okay, but now sod that, I should have enough to buy this. Oh, not sure why that message came up. But that's a collector in a different sense. So what that does is that's a minecart that goes in, and that's going to take 6 minutes to return some iron to me.
Cool.
Oh,
Nice.
okay, so what we can do is we can leave all these sorts of things. Anyway, oh, the time's gone down there. Interesting. Cool. So as I say, this is a sort of a work in progress package, so I'll make it public when it's a little bit more solid, but sort of most of the mechanics are sitting there nicely. And obviously, as I say at this point, those things are actually kind of ticking away in the background. So hopefully by the time we've done the next step, we'll be able to go back and have a look at where we've got to. Cool. So just have a quick look at chat. So we all have the weekend to make new Tycoon games. Yeah, I mean, so this package isn't available. I could make it public. Let me know in chat. Put your hands up emojis in chat if you want this package to be available this weekend, bugs and all. Because I'll probably don't have time after to fix anything, but it should be available. Yeah, it should mostly work. And you can follow the stream. You see where the small issues lie, and even let me know how you fix them. If you fix them for me, that'd be great. But yeah, hands up in chat if you want this package available this weekend. Okay, so the next thing for the Tycoon sort of game is a kind of leaderboard, and it's nice to kind of competitively, cooperatively work together. So you'll almost have this leaderboard in place that's going to get players to sort of work against each other almost in a way, to see you can mine the most and sort of boast how much they've mined. I'm going to take that as a unanimous yes for making it public. So okay, after the stream,
it looks fairly positive.
I'll have a look at making that, making it public. Cool. So for this leaderboard, let's have a look at the community tab again. So Sean made us a really nice leaderboard for the race that we had in the hub in the season just gone, and I assume it was you that made this package, Sean, for the board, the NUI leaderboard. Cool. So we're going to take that, and I'm going to show you a way that you can modify that to work with score instead of being a time-based thing. So we're also going to need another package I've made, which is public, so you can use this right now. It's called Score Tracker. So if you followed the stream a few weeks ago where we made the obby game that we sort of put Adam through, that came with like a kill tracker. This is kind of like that, except it doesn't have any UI with it. So it is literally just a script on the user that will track a score if you pass the user a score. So we have some things like that baked into starter games, but this is good if you've used in a starter game which doesn't have a score concept, or you started from an empty slate and you're kind of doing things from scratch. This is quite a nice little quick script to use that will help with that. Oh, that's a lot of hands filling up the chat. Okay, yeah, I think we'll go with that then. It'll be interesting to see how people can take this and run with it over the weekend. So what was I up to? Leaderboards, right? So we've got the leaderboard template. If I just drag that onto the terrain. Okay, and we see nice and quick we get this pretty cool looking leaderboard. Now you could customize this to look however you'd like. It's just using the same sort of HTML, CSS and JavaScript editor. That's going to be our leaderboard. Now the score we're going to use, I thought it'd actually be quite is kind of the amount of resources you've gathered. It's quite a quick and easy way to do it. You could do it on the user's money, so who has the most money or who has the most things bought. But I thought, each time you pick up resources, that comes with like 10 copper bars. Let's just save that as the score, and obviously increment that over time. So to set up the score tracker, just like the notifications, it should be just a case of this script folder getting dragged to the user. Okay, and then score tracker script. I'll just show you that is quite a simple little script. It's just got the a function which catches a score, which increments it over time, and then there's a load and save. And again, it's got this sort of save version concept. So if you wanted to reset everyone's saved scores in your game, you just change that number. Okay, and then we don't need to do anything there. So if I go to the, if I go back to the world, have a look at this. So our leaderboard comes with this leaderboard controller. So this is actually the first time actually having to do any scripting. So all the gameplay you've seen so far just kind of work out the box. There's a lot of stuff there to start playing with. In order to get this to work, we're going to need to make a few tweaks to this script, but Sean quite handily, when he made this, actually let us know the places. So here we can see that format time is for races. So this can be removed if you want just straight numbers of scores. Okay, so we know that actually we can just get rid of this because we just want to take the score as we're given. We don't need to do any formatting. That's the first thing, quite easy. Okay, the next thing is down in this function here, so get high score table. What it's actually doing here is it's assuming that you're using a race. So you've got this race user script on the user. Okay, but I'm just going to remove this if statement. Okay, and then we'll just tidy this up. Okay, so what we need to do is make a table with the user score and then insert it into the high scores. So this race user script doesn't actually exist on our user, but instead we're going to use the score tracker script. That script that I've just attached to the player, to the user, .properties, .score. Okay, so what that's going to do is that's going to reach through to our score tracker script and pull out whatever's saved in this property here. And then the final thing to do is just when it sorts it here, we need to switch this to say score and score instead of time, and just flip this around here. So instead of less than, it'll be greater than. That's going to sort it so that the higher the score, the higher up the leaderboard it sits. Okay, and that's all we need to do to that script to modify it to work with the score. So if you've used this, even if you're not building a Tycoon game, but you were building some sort of score-based game, then that's how easy it is to actually just pull in a leaderboard, a few little changes here and there, and you'll get that working with the score. The place that I actually update the score, I can show you, already came with this. It's the collector script. Okay, so it already came with this template, but if I go down, we can see that here, when the player does their collection, when they pick up the things, we call add score on the user, and the number that we update by is the capacity of the collector, because that's how many of that resource they've collected. What's John saying? User find script property score. That would probably be much nicer, actually. Should we do that? Let's do that. This is John teaching me to code, teach you to code. Okay, so, because obviously what this is doing, and this is assuming the player has the score tracker script, which wouldn't always be the case. In this game, I kind of know it is, but if I was making this sort of generic, so other games could use this script, then what we can do is, let's just remove this. So the user as an entity, I can call a function called find script property. Okay, so what that will do is it will search for all the scripts on this given entity for a property and return the value. All I need to do is say score there. It's actually a much nicer way of doing it. So that will kind of be generic enough, actually, that depending on how the game is set up, as long as something on the user has a property with called score, it will pull that out. Okay. So that should all be set up now. Shall we have a quick look, see how that's acting now, and check in on our minds?
Yeah.
I'm going to be rich.
Okay, a few bits of UI haven't disappeared. That's something to look at. But up here's my collectors, my gold collectors coming back. Also my silver. Okay, and you'll see there in the inventory down at the bottom that the silver and copper are kind of two separate things. Oh, my iron's come back. So there's an example of how I mentioned before that the gold could have been gold bar meshes. This minecart is actually using a mesh as well as a couple of bits of sort of voxel mesh. So that's big iron nuggets. So if I grab that, not sure why it's telling me that belongs to Maggie, but again, I'll have a look at that.
Maggie owns everything.
Maggie owns everything. Yeah. Yeah. So as I say, I'll make this public because it seems like there's a lot of interest in that, but there are problems. So let it be known. Okay. So we can see here that we've got 3 things now in the shop to sell, and each come with the sort of a different amount they sell for. I can sell loads of copper, sell loads of that, make a load of money. Okay, you get the idea. That's all to be sold. Oh, I didn't quite sell enough to get the wagon. Let's go and do that.
A big wagon.
It's a big wagon. Yeah, there we are. So it's decoration, a big wagon. If I step it, oh, there we are. Bought myself a big wagon. You could do some nice stuff there. You could get the props to fall out of the sky and sort of arrive a bit more interesting than just appearing out of thin air. Okay, I can see that this has come back already. Send them back down. Okay, I've got a minute and a half left to my gold. So, have we got anything interesting to show off on the environment? Oh, I don't like that laugh.
There's some birds in the sky.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Spend 10 seconds looking at them.
Cool. Okay, so you got a little campfire going on here. That sounded really harsh. Before the stream, I'd mentioned to Sean and Maggie about building some like kind of little platformy type things, but that's fine. Let's say this is looking great. So yeah, I don't mean to sound like I'm disappointed in what you've done.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Ross.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's cool. So that's one thing to consider. You know, if people are planning on making a sort of tycoon game, then having things to do around, you know, might be quite nice. Obviously, players will jump in and out and they'll go off to different games. But if they've only got, what have I got, 30 seconds left on my gold, so I'm not necessarily going to jump out and play anything else. I just want to sort of explore. So having a few little hidden Easter egg type things around the map would always be quite fun to do.
I'll get you something for the next preview.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll hold you to that. So we've got 15 seconds. Exciting. So one thing. Oh, have you added music? Or have I still got my?
Yeah.
You have. Okay, I've still got my music turned off. Need to sort that out. But here we go. Here's
You
our.
should hear the birds too.
Here's our gold. Okay, so there's the gold we made, and apparently that belongs.
Chunky gold.
That belongs to Sean. Apparently. Okay. Oh, and our leaderboard. Yeah, let's show that off. So we can see here that currently on the leaderboard, me and Sean have both collected 120 resources, and Maggie's collected 90. So obviously on our public roadmap, we mentioned that we're going to get global leaderboards coming in. So that would be a really nice sort of game to include global leaderboards with. So you could have kind of the all-time best canyon miner in your game, or whatever game it is you're using. Okay, let's go back. So Raf saying, would it be difficult to build an auto collector? So by auto collector, you mean, I guess you mean like it will come up and sort of deposit and then go back down straight away, which, yeah, that would be easy enough. I had a different version of this game working earlier this week that I sort of canned to make this version of it. But that version worked with a sort of deposit point. So that would be possible, and you could have that deposit point with a capacity. So you have to return to the game before that fills up, otherwise everything's just going to stall and break down. That's perfectly doable. What else do I want to do? Okay, so those last collectors, let's set those up. Give Sean time to make his wonderful lobby.
Oh yeah.
So I want to take my. Let's take our silver collector. Okay, and we'll just modify this again, but I'll show you how you can do this with meshes instead of those voxel meshes. Okay, so let's break the link, and we'll call this, I think it was diamonds was the suggestion, the diamond collector. Okay, I wonder if there's a different mesh for the actual. I feel like diamonds wouldn't come up in pallets. Would be a good thing. You don't really see many pallets of diamonds. Would be a good, slightly more extravagant thing to deliver them on. Bathtub of diamonds. No.
I'll take a bathtub of diamonds.
Yeah, I would say no.
About a cauldron. Let's do a cauldron. Okay, so it's going to be a big cauldron that goes down and comes up with a huge diamond in it. So next thing to look at is our silver bars entity. Okay, so what we can do is actually we can just delete this and add our own. That's going to complain because it's lost a link to that, but that's fine. We can fix that in a moment. So one of these is jumbo. Perfect. Okay, I wonder if we can add a light to that as well. So let's create the effect of sparkles. So the sparkles look quite nice when it comes up to show that it's ready to be collected. Is it that one? Yeah. And then let's see about adding a light. So the way this works is this diamond will become the thing that hides and appears, but it'll also hide and show any of the children as well. So anything you add underneath this will also get hidden. So we add a light to this. Let's pull the attenuation right in. Let's go for shadow casting as well. Make it really intense. A really strong purple light or something. Yeah, that looks quite cool. Okay, so that'll be what comes up. All right, so now what we want to do is go back to our collector and just assign that large diamond that resource, and you'll see that that error goes away. That's what's going to come up, and that looks pretty funky. Okay, the collection trigger needs setting up again. I think that should, if I've thought of everything there. Oh no, our resource, what it's going to give you, we need to set up. So again, let's go back to our templates. Resource. Okay, and then we'll just rename this. So these will sell for like, let's go for 500 each. So they're pretty good. It's called a diamond, no grip, but we can set up the mesh. Okay, and we'll just rename this resource diamond. Okay, template that up. Okay, so that's that sorted. Okay, so now we've got that, we can go back to our diamond and say we want to have the resources of diamond. In fact, we only want to have, let's say we get one diamond. They take, let's say they take 20 minutes to appear. And the collection trigger, no. Capacity, that's it. So we only get one. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we get one diamond that sells for quite a bit more, and it takes 20 minutes to appear. So the nice thing of setting all these things up in properties is you can really start to just sort of tweak them as you go through. So you can start to pull things around and start to really test the numbers and reset and do it again and sort of balance that way. It's a really nice thing for a game designer to come in and do as well. So someone who doesn't know how to code necessarily, but they can come in and start tweaking the numbers and playing with that. Collects a big diamond. Okay, so that's ready to be made into a template. Diamond collector. Right, let's delete that. Right, so now we need to just go back to our mine and set up these last two collectors. So again, let's just copy and paste this previous one. What's that complaining about? I'm not sure why that's ended up the second. Oh, I think I just copied the wrong thing. There we are. That should work. Okay. Right, so number 8 is going to allow you to purchase a diamond collector. It's going to cost 4,000. And that should do that. Yep, okay. And let's just make another one. Got 2 diamond collectors that have appeared. Okay, and then if we just go back to our mine area, let's assign number 8 and 9 to our collector positions. Okay, just double check that they line up with 8 and 9. So if we go back to the purchase triggers for each of these and just set this index up. Okay, that should then be ready. What we'll do is we'll just go to our inventory save script. Just change this so we end up with a bunch of money again so we can buy those. Okay, I think I've done everything there. It's a little bit quicker than I remember, but right. What is going on through here? Are you ready?
Wait.
Almost. A little fly through.
There you go.
Okay, I'm going to hit play. Okay, so we can see a bunch of stuff's finished because that took a little while, but we've got our 5,000 money back, and we've got collector that collects a big diamond. Going to go down. That's our cauldron. I don't have enough, but that's going to take 20 minutes before that comes back. Okay, cool. Right, so that's all ready. So before we just publish this game so people can come and have a play, on top of the leaderboard, that's good. What have we created over here? Oh, there's a big hole there. Nice.
You guys.
I just fell straight down.
Working as intended. I say falling through the next hole.
It worked really well, like running up to it, like kind of you didn't see the hole because the color all like blends into one. It's only when you get to the top of that first little slope that you actually see the gap. Nice. Yeah, it's just a fun little course to run around. Land in Sean's space. Cool. Okay. Right, so I think that's probably a good point to wrap this up. So what we can do is we can publish this now and people can start playing it and getting a feel for how the gameplay works. And then, as I say, I'll have a look at getting this package public, so people can then start making it, making their own Tycoon games. Obviously, it does have problems. It has a few minor bugs and issues here and there, but hopefully it's the start of something that can become a pretty useful package for people to make some quite fun and sort of interesting Tycoon-style games. So, okay, if you two wanted to remove yourselves and go back to the hub,
Okay.
I shall publish this now. Do I need to, I tell you what I need to do before I publish is remove the 5,000 5,000 start monies. So if I go back to my user default, so you can start with 100, which is the sort of enough to get you that first copper mine. And I'll just wipe inventory save and Tycoon. That'll actually be fine because I'm going to publish. Okay, so now that that's all ready, I can come to the back here, have a look at my Canyon Miners game. Okay, so this is ready to publish. We're gonna.
Oh, one sec, and
Oh.
I'll get out.
Oh, that's
Just
okay.
having a bit more fun.
Okay. Right. So, a Tycoon game built on Stream.
Right, I'm
using-
out.
Cool. Thank you very much. Early version of the Tycoon package. It has bugs. Okay, we're going to keep the same picture. Right, so what are we thinking this is going to be? This is going to be, it's pretty casual. Casual. What else we got on here? I'd say it's fairly relaxing. Oh, I didn't have the music on. I'll have the music on in a moment to make sure I hear that before I stop. Social hangout might be quite a fun little place to hang out, do some mining together, and then I think Western Frontiers to round that one off. Okay, let's publish that game. So if anyone's waiting and ready in chat who has Crayta, then do make sure you head over and sort of check that out now. That should be available. What we'll do is we'll jump in back first. I'm just going to go to my settings, turn my music back up. Okay. Oh, I just thought one thing I forgot I should probably do before too many people join is set the max players to 4, because obviously only 4 players can get a mine.
That'll be exciting.
That would be a scrap. So, okay, let's just quickly republish that. Okay, so hopefully that's not messed anything up too much, but that should be there ready to be played. And I know a few people in chat are Crayta players, so I'm going to jump in now and share a state share beta link, so you can click on that link and you can jump in and start having a quick play at this now. Are there more template starter games coming to Crayta soon? So that's from Raf. So hopefully, actually, this one potentially, if we can kind of work on it, and it'd be interesting to see any feedback that you get over this weekend if you're using it, sort of things you might like to see. But yeah, hopefully we're going to try and turn something like this into a starter game. Don't hold me to that. Obviously, there's probably a lot of work to do to get it starter game ready, but it'd be an interesting game to explore. Right, let's get that link. Okay, so this is a state share beta link to my specific instance of the game. Okay, and if you click that link, it'll take you to it. If it's already full, then you will get added to a new instance, but I'm in here by myself at the moment, so there is space for people to come in and join. Trigger my first mine. Be interested to see a screenshot in Discord of the first person to have unlocked everything in this game. That'd be quite interesting to see how quick someone can do it.
It'll be Boop.
Yeah, probably be Boop. Okay, so have we got any takers? Still just myself. Oh, we've got, here's Raf, so Raf's joined. So Raf should have been assigned a mine. Start playing with. It's always satisfying to build a game in sort of just over an hour and then have people come and play. Okay, cool. So that's there. So say that's available now to be played whenever you'd like over the weekend. I see Water's here, so we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if anyone not from the stream plays and to see how quickly they can pick up what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys now to go and play that. So thank you, Maggie and Sean. The environment looks great. Sorry if I came across a bit harsh earlier. But yeah, thank you for your help once again.
No problem.
Wrong screen again. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining in. It's been quite a fun build actually. As I say, it's been quite a journey this week trying to get this game together, but hopefully that's going to become the start of something that's really quite useful for players to make their own Tycoon games, and maybe even one day we'll get that out into a sort of starter game format for players to work from. So yeah, I'll have a look at making this public. I'm not going to have time to fix the bugs, so as I say, it will come out with a few issues that you've seen on stream, but still hopefully that's something you can start building with, and maybe even fix the bugs for me. So if you do find any bugs and fix them, make sure you head over to Discord and join in and let me know. So that's discord.gg/Crayta, I believe. So if one of the mods want to get the links going sort of through the chat now, so we've got the links to Discord. We've got you can find us at Crayta Game at Twitter on Twitter and Instagram. So they're great places to keep up with all the latest news and stuff that's going on in the world of Crayta. You can also obviously find us here on YouTube. We stream twice a week and sometimes even on a Thursday. Some of the members of chat here tonight. So Andy did a great stream last night with Jem. As you say, we've got more of those plans, so do make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube and set up your notifications by ringing the bell. Get all the sort of notifications needed to know when we're streaming, and hopefully we'll have some more pretty exciting, pretty fun streams coming up. Final bit of housekeeping, do make sure you check out our event we're running next weekend. So we're running a game jam. So there's a link available right now. So if one of the mods has that to hand to throw that in, you can start registering for it right now. But that's available to start even looking at. And then if you tune into the stream next Friday, we'll be kicking off the weekend long game jam by announcing the theme and all the fun stuff there. So something to look forward to. Maybe it'll be a Tycoon game, who knows? But yeah, so maybe make sure you check out that link and start having a look at the game jam that we're going to be doing. It's quite an exciting thing we're going to be trialing starting next weekend. So yeah, hopefully you have a nice weekend and hopefully you come out with some pretty cool and fun Tycoon games. And if you make anything, do make sure you share it with us over on Discord. Okay, and I'll see you next week.